General Hospital doesn't seem to want to cut its losses with the pairing of Hamilton Finn and Elizabeth Weber, and we don't understand why GH has been trying to make something out of nothing with Finn, Michael Easton, and Liz, Rebecca Herbst, for nearly 3 years, and so far, it's been a no-go with fans. It seemed that the show was finally listening a year ago, when the couple who had barely even shared a kiss broke up, but apparently, the show thought it could fix them and try again. Fans' primary complaint was that Finn was trying to rule Elizabeth's life, and she seemed to have no agency of her own. While Finn no longer tries to tell Elizabeth what to do, she has no storyline of her own. Everything is about Finn's life and Finn's problems, and we never see Liz's point of view except to tell us what a saint Finn is. Perhaps the most egregious problem for GA's Finn and Elizabeth is that they have absolutely no chemistry, and all their scenes play as if they are best friends or brother and sister, since they were nearly brother-in-law and sister-in-law. That could make sense, but they never should have been paired together. Every date and love scene. Thankfully, there has been only one love scene. With this couple seems forced and awkward. General Hospital seems to want Finn and Elizabeth to be the next Steve, John Berardino, and Audrey Ratchelanes, but maybe they are Steve and Jesse, Emily and McLaughlin, a doctor and a nurse who are friends and partners at work, rather than a doctor and nurse who go home together at the end of the day. Sometimes a soap has to fades when a couple doesn't work. It took about 2 to 3 years for GH to finally throw in the towel with Peter August, Wes Ramsey, and Maxie Jones, Kirsten Storms, but we are almost at 3 years and counting with Finn and Liz. If GH thought a malpractice story about a tapeworm and cancer killing a patient we never met before was going to do the trick for this failed couple, it was sadly wrong and needs to end things now. Tune into General Hospital weekdays on ABC to see how these stories play out. For many devoted fans of General Hospital, GH, the show has been an emotional roller coaster. With its twisting storylines, heart-pounding drama, and a cast of beloved characters, GH has continued to thrive for decades. However, over the past year, one pairing has emerged as a toxic element to the show's dynamic: Finn and Elizabeth. What started as an intriguing romance has spiraled into a nightmare, taking away from the compelling and rich storytelling that General Hospital is known for. It's high time that the showrunners end this problematic pairing for good, and here's why. Finn and Elizabeth's relationship began with what seemed like potential. Both characters had experienced tumultuous and painful pasts. Finn was a deeply complex character who had been introduced as a brooding, morally ambiguous doctor, while Elizabeth was a more grounded, family-oriented nurse. On paper, they seemed like a perfect match, two people who had suffered and were looking for redemption and peace in each other's arms. However, as time went on, the spark that initially existed between Finn and Elizabeth began to flicker and fade. Rather than providing support and healing for each other, their relationship has largely become one filled with drama, miscommunication, and inconsistency. A relationship that once held so much promise is now the embodiment of forced drama and uninspired storytelling. One of the most frustrating aspects of the Finn and Elizabeth relationship is the constant emotional manipulation that both characters seem to be subjected to. Elizabeth, who has been a fan favorite for decades, has undergone so much heartache over the years, from her tumultuous relationship with Lucky Spencer to the devastating loss of her son, Jake. It would be reasonable to expect her to finally find happiness and stability in her relationships, but with Finn, that dream has been dashed. Instead of finding a partner who can help her heal and regain her strength, Elizabeth is continually subjected to emotional roller coasters. Finn's behavior has been erratic at best, ranging from dismissive to overly possessive. His incessant need to control the narrative, to constantly question Elizabeth's feelings and decisions, has created an atmosphere of toxicity. Finn's need to impose his views on her life, especially regarding her relationship with her children, has turned what should be a supportive and loving partnership into a battleground of miscommunication. Even worse, the storyline has begun to feel repetitive. Every week, Finn and Elizabeth seem to be going through the same motions. One minute they are happy, the next minute they are fighting. The on-again, off-again dynamic between them has grown tiresome, and their relationship feels more like a drawn-out plot device than an actual love story. Fans are left wondering why the writers continue to drag this plot along when it's clear that there's no real growth or evolution happening. Another issue with the Finn and Elizabeth pairing is the disservice it does to Finn's character development. Finn was introduced as a multifaceted, intriguing character, someone with a moral compass that was often at odds with his profession as a doctor. His struggle with addiction, his complicated family dynamics, and his dedication to helping others made him one of the more interesting characters on the show. However, ever since his romance with Elizabeth began, Finn's character has become stagnant. Rather than exploring the complexities of his past or pushing him into new, challenging situations, the show has opted to focus on his relationship with Elizabeth, and in doing so, has sidelined the potential for his character to evolve. The dynamic between Finn and Elizabeth has stripped him of the emotional depth he once had, reducing him to a man who's constantly reacting to Elizabeth's whims and struggling to be the perfect partner. The Finn we once knew, a man capable of introspection and growth, has now been reduced to a character whose actions are dictated solely by his relationship with Elizabeth. This is a missed opportunity for the show to explore more compelling storylines for Finn, such as delving deeper into his family ties, his work as a doctor, or even his own personal demons. But instead, we're stuck watching him wander aimlessly in an uninspired relationship. Just as Finn's character development has suffered, so too has Elizabeth's. Elizabeth has long been one of the most beloved characters on General Hospital. A nurse who has always put others before herself, she's a woman who has fought for her family and her happiness time and time again. However, her relationship with Finn has done her a disservice, reducing her to a mere shadow of the strong, independent woman she once was. Over the years, Elizabeth has struggled with the notion of what it means to be a mother, a partner, and a woman who deserves happiness. Her love for her children and her determination to provide them with a stable home life have been central to her character. Yet, instead of showcasing her growth and evolution, the writers have relegated Elizabeth to a secondary character who is mostly defined by her romantic entanglement with Finn. This disempowerment of Elizabeth's character is frustrating, especially given her rich history on the show. She is a woman who deserves to find happiness on her terms, to have a relationship that brings out the best in her. But instead, her connection with Finn has dragged her into a toxic, repetitive cycle where she's constantly questioning herself and her choices. She deserves so much more than this. Fans of General Hospital are not blind to the issues with the Finn and Elizabeth pairing. Over the past several months, social media platforms and fan forums have been filled with frustration over the relationship. Viewers have made it clear that they are tired of watching the same tired drama play out week after week. Many fans have expressed their discontent with the way the relationship is written, and some have even argued that it has soured their enjoyment of the show. While not all viewers may be in agreement about the direction the show should take, one thing is clear: General Hospital has alienated a large portion of its fan base by continuing to push a romance that is not only stale but damaging to the core of the characters involved. There are countless other storylines that could breathe new life into both Finn and Elizabeth, but the show has chosen to prolong a relationship that is clearly not working. General Hospital thrives when it challenges its characters, pushing them to evolve and grow in meaningful ways. When characters find themselves in relationships that are supportive and enriching, it allows them to thrive and develop further. On the other hand, when characters are trapped in toxic, stagnating relationships, it not only harms their growth, but also harms the overall quality of the show.